The idea of making something pretty just for the sake of it is kind of antithetical to me. But I do think that beautiful food is a really uplifting experience. I think that the fact of knowing the whole journey of where the food comes from is part of what makes it really beautiful, because I really want people to be able to see what's in their food. I really want to lay it out in a way that's sort of almost diagrammatic. But also the stuff is so beautiful. If you see chives like these where the flowers are out, or you see the seaweed out on the rocks, you want people to be able to see that, because that's so much of the story that went into the dish. We set up Paramount Pie Club when we first moved to Kent. The Pie Club used exclusively local ingredients. We'd just moved from London, we'd found ourselves right in the middle of the Garden of England. And that became quite a commercial enterprise more quickly than we meant it to. But it wasn't the direction we wanted to go in. So we dropped that and moved to Folkestone so we could focus on our artistic endeavours. So I was making work which was back in the realms of installation that I used to make, but gradually food crept into it. I was quite interested in ideas about making space through making food, and then Folkestone Fringe asked me to cater some of their events, so then I got to tie in the making of food into arts events. It became a really interesting mix where my food was part of my artistic practice. And then in February this year, Peter, my husband, and I decided to sort of make it official and start Eastcliff Kitchen and invite people into our home, try different foods, and also to look at the idea of communality. And again, we have this same ethos of everything being hyper-local, and that goes to the extreme that everything comes from within walking distance. I cook because my entire female line of my family have cooked and have been incredible cooks, and they sort of embedded this idea about gifting food and sharing food experiences in me. And I was looking at what we had available, and because of the time of year and everything we do is obviously seasonal, because to use what's around you, you have to respond to the seasons. We just have the most amazing stuff at the moment, so everything tastes incredible because it's at its optimum ripeness. So the carrots and radishes and all of the ingredients in the spring rolls are literally just the things that we have most accessible at the moment, and so the best way to serve them is raw, and so that's what we did in the summer roll with the dipping sauce, which is obviously a Vietnamese kind of dish originally, but we're not particularly strict about where our influences come from, we're just strict about where the food comes from. It's just a homemade gnocchi made with nettles that we foraged in the allotments and also down at the Warren. And it had a cheese foam which used a ewe's milk cheese from Ottinge Court, which is a farm just outside Folkestone. And also the crab, which came from just down on the harbour at Bob's Seafood. First time he pulled up his crab pots this year, we were there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Those sort of dishes we love because they weave together a real story about our adventures around this area. Through the year we use a lot of seaweed, wild growing herbs, Alexanders are one of our favourite, wild fennel, nettles. So there's a whole range of different sea-based and land-based foraging that we get involved in. And we hope to open in the middle of the summer. It's going to be on the harbour arm. We're going to have a container or two. That space is going to be an artist-led food project. Initially we will open with a normal food service, so it's open to the public, and then we're going to build up an idea of bartering and exchange so that people can contribute ingredients for the food, or they can contribute their time as labour in the kitchen or front of house, and in exchange they can eat in the space. And we're going to invite artists to come down to Folkestone for residencies and work also with artists who are already based here and use it as a space for those residencies to explore it through a whole load of different mediums, but all relating back to the idea of eating, producing food, communality, and the rituals in the theatre of eating together.